Well, hello everyone. Welcome to summer. General A has asked all the wing commanders to reach out and reinforce the importance of focusing on safety and readiness as we enter the summer activities. Now, when I was in the Air Force, one of the safety topics that came up over and over again was the 101 critical days of summer. And they had a wonderful PowerPoint. So I went and looked for it, and I found it. So we're going to talk safety for a little bit. I'm going to break this up into separate little videos. I'm going to give you additional resources. I want you to spend a little bit of time going through these different resources just to get that safety mindset, because during the 101 days, which is from Memorial Day to Labor Day, that's when probably the most accidents happen. And there's a reason for it. We let our guard down, we start relaxing, we're out there having fun. And if you've heard me talk, you know when something's fun, there's probably a safety element into it. So what we're going to do is we are going to walk through um, a variety of different topics. I'm going to talk about them. Like I said, I'm going to break them into different videos. Please please spend some time and watch these videos and go over the material, right? Because we don't want you to end up in the hospital or be away from CAP. Okay, so that's why I want you to do this. All right, let's get started. So here we are, 101 days, critical days of summer. This is a list of all the topics that are in this PowerPoint presentation, and I'm going to include the Air Force site that I got this from, so you can go through these various topics. But as you can see, a lot of great things to talk about. Water-related activities. It talks about adult swimming, but we're going to talk about all kinds of swimming, um, cadets and adults, and some safety that goes involved. Then, as you look through, home safety is at the end, and we'll certainly talk about that. But I'll break it up into a couple major topics here. And why is this important, right? That when we let our guard down, this is when accidents happen. And we can prevent this. Everyone is a safety officer, as I've heard all the time, which means we can get ahead of this and prevent it. And all it takes is to slow down and think about it a little bit, right? So keep that risk management hat on all the time as you're looking at things. Once again, if it looks like it's going to be fun, there's probably a safety element involved. Why does this matter? Last year, during this summer season, the Air Force lost 16 airmen and guardians, right, to preventable mishaps. They were preventable, right? Some were motor vehicle accidents, some were water sports, some were just accidents that happened at home, right? And we can get ahead of this. So, as you know, in CAP, we talk about safety all the time, right? When we're doing ES missions, we definitely talk about safety. When we are doing aerospace things, launching rockets, doing drones, we certainly talk about safety. But we have to think about this all the time. And so that's why we're doing this. Okay. Let's talk about water, right? They had, there was 8 fatalities due to water related activities. Okay. Um, there was a lot more, but folks have been focusing on safety, and this continues to improve, right? So we gotta water is unforgiving, and we have to make sure that when we're around water, that we are extra cautious. Okay, things you already know. Don't swim alone. Always have a partner, right? Don't get into a body of water by yourself. Um, Cramps happen. Um, suddenly that your body goes into shock for whatever reason. It could be the cold, right? Any of those things. If you are on medication, right? I take allergy medication. Some allergy medication makes me drowsy, right? It takes me out of my game, right? So if you are under the influence of any type of medication, drugs, if you're old enough to drink alcohol, right, you shouldn't be swimming. Okay. Do not exceed your limitations, right? Without guided instruction. If you don't know how to swim, then you shouldn't be diving off in the deep end. When I was a lifeguard a long time ago, there was a woman who jumped into the deep end just to impress her boyfriend, but she couldn't swim a lick. I had to drag her out into the pool, right? Preventable, absolutely preventable. Swift water. If you're going out canoeing, rafting, you go to Pennsylvania, you go down the Delaware Water Gap, right? There's a lot of great water. You have to be extra careful. Uh, Riptides, right? Understanding how riptides work, how that if you keep swimming against the riptide, then you are going to exhaust yourself. And what you need to do is swim perpendicular to it, right? You'd have to swim along the shore until you're out of the rip current. Thunder and lightning and water, right? Bad combination. Um, if you are cold, time to get out, warm yourself up, right? So it's a matter of just thinking about these things, right? And it says adult swimming, but this is just swimming safety. It doesn't matter if you're an adult or not. Okay. Life jackets, cannot emphasize the importance of having a life jacket, right? Yeah, you know how to swim, right? You're an Olympic swimmer, right? If you have a boating accident and get knocked out, then that Olympic swimming does not help you, but the life vest will help you. Um, and so it's important to do that, right? If you are, having communications, being able to call for somebody for help if you need it, absolutely important. Do you have a swimming pool, right? Are you aware of the chemicals? Are you aware that you cannot mix certain chemicals without producing a poisonous gas? Right? You have to know all the different chemicals. Make sure that you are wearing the proper protective equipment so you don't, get different chemical burns. Making sure that you don't inhale these chemicals, right? I had a swimming pool the last place I lived. It was great, but man, those chemicals, um, they, yeah, I didn't like being around them, right? So make sure that you know the stuff that you're working with and that you do it according to how the packages say that you must do it. All right. And this is, in terms of storage, making sure that you store it so, people and animals don't get in contact with it. Make sure that they're in dry areas, right? They work better with water, right? Liquid chemicals, right? You clean them up if you spill them. Just following instructions, right? Just don't dump them down the drain, right? Dispose of them properly. Rhode Island. We live in Rhode Island. Believe it or not, Rhode Island grows 3% and gets smaller 3% every tide. Um, we are surrounded by water. We have an amazing amount of beachfront. And guess what? We have a lot of boaters, right? Sailing clubs. That's one of the things that's on my bucket list is to learn to go out sailing. And it's important that you have a good plan of action. If you are going out boating, let people have an idea where you are going so when you don't come back, somebody's looking for you. We do this in CAP with our aviation, right? Boating is kind of aviation, but on the water, right? Knowing your weather. For aviators, we go out and check the weather, right? If it's bad weather, we don't go out. Okay, that's kind of normal for Rhode Island. We have a lot of bad weather. We don't go flying. Same thing with boating. If you got bad weather, don't go boating. Okay. Um, just using common sense, right? Being at the safe speed, keeping an eye out for obstacles, right? Don't once again, if it sounds like, oh, this will be fun, we'll scare them with our boat, right? It's probably a safety issue. Okay. Knowing the rules of the road on the water, right? Knowing what what you're supposed to do, how you're supposed to do it, keeping an eye out. When we go flying, one of the things I hear all the time, there's traffic out there. What do? We scan and avoid. Same thing with boating. Okay. So all these things, a lot of transference here that you can transfer from one thing to another. Okay. Somebody's in charge of the boating and the boating safety, right? Um, like I said, make sure somebody knows where you're going and how long you're going to be there, when to start doing this. As a flight release officer, one of the things that I have to do is know when the team is going to be back on the ground. And if I don't hear from them within an hour, I'm starting to sound the alarm to go find them. Okay. So we also have on the planes, we have ELTs, right? So we can locate the plane if there is an accident, right? When you are on a boat, good thing to have those kind of things also. So once again, you can be found, right? Doing a flight plan for aviators, right, is an indicator that you want to be found in the case of emergency. You don't want to be found, don't file a flight plan, right? But I'm going to tell you to file a flight plan, okay? Um, Life jackets, avoid alcohol, carbon monoxide, right? Some of these boats have cabins, making sure that there's ventilation to avoid CO poisoning, right? Um, Marinas. When I was a kid, we put the boat in a marina. And we would go down and swim with the kelp and all that. And, it was a lake. Never thinking how dangerous it was for boats coming in and out of the marina. Um, so, yeah, those things are a concern. Okay. Um, yeah, don't play with the engine. It's not healthy for you. Warning signs, right? Knowing what the warning signs are. Basically, if there's a red flag out there, there's there's probably a concern, right? So go figure out what the red flag is. As somebody who is going out on a boat, yeah, you probably know these different warnings, but you should have been ahead of that by checking with the weather service long before. What do you do if somebody goes overboard? Let everybody know, man, overboard. Okay. Um, and keep an eye on where that person is, right? Get them something that they can hold on to, a flotation device, and how to get your boat around. Just learning what those proper procedures are, right? Are you a diver? Right? Make sure that you have received the proper training. Okay. Um, don't dive into shallow water, right? Especially head first. Don't dive into shallow water. Enter it properly. Know what the depth of water is. Making sure that you're avoiding obstacles, anything that can hang you, get you hung up and, that you cannot escape from, right? Make sure that you're doing that. Drinking, drinking and diving do not go together well, right? Your body chemical, it changes, right? And it increases a risk if you're scuba diving, right? Make sure your gear is good. Make sure that you are trained. Make sure that you're physically fit. All those things apply. We'll continue on into alcohol safety, right? For cadets, you're not supposed to be drinking. So let's not. Okay. Um, there's an increase of water issues, water accidents when somebody has been drinking, right? We know this on land. Drinking and driving is illegal for a reason. Boating and drinking, same problems, right? And it's also illegal, right? If you out there and consume too much alcohol and you're boating, you could also be arrested. But it's dangerous. It impairs your ability to know what's going on and making the right decision. Um, sun and alcohol. You go out and drink, right? You tend to take extra risks, but also your body, doesn't process heat the same way, right? So you're increasing your chances of having an accident, having a medical condition because of uh, alcohol, and especially if you're near water, right? We talked about don't drink and swim, right? Don't drink and drive, don't drink and boat, right? All those things. Okay. This is a new one to me, boaters hypnosis, right? Fatigue caused by hours of boating. That you your mental capacity is not working like it should, and this increases the chances of accidents. Okay, so the same thing, add alcohol to it, we're adding more complications. All right, I will pick up in another video here, and in the meantime, thank you for watching this, and we will be right back with another video.